Gen Z is the upcoming generation to yield their marketing and spending power. In this unified session, close the generation gap with insights on the Gen Z perspective as both talent and consumer with Mini Dying of My Harapan and Natalie Amadia of Quirk.
Hello, everyone. This is Nini Dang from My Harapan, and we are going to go right into it with Natalie Amadia from Quirk. So, not Quirk, but Quirk, and who I feel is as quirky as I am, or I fit the bill, definitely. So, I think jumping straight in, I'd like to ask first for you to introduce yourselves and, do justice to the work that you do.
Okay, nice to meet you, Nini, and everyone. So I'm Natalie, as Nini has said. So currently, I'm a marketer at Quirk. And then, beside being a marketing staff at Quirk, I also moonlight as a freelance illustrator. So that's me. I'm also a millennial who acts sometimes a that bit like a Gen Z. So that's why we're going to speak about that topic. And then, what drew me into marketing is actually the creative process. So I think looking at my background, it might be a little of very mixed, but yeah, what drew me into illustration and marketing is the creative process behind it. I enjoy content creation, I enjoy visuals, so that's why I'm here.
Wonderful. So, I'm much older, but I think that I'm in Gen Z in a Gen Z population. So that's even worse. So I think when we look into brand and marketing, and that it's super wide, right? And that's
Mm-hmm.
the reason why, you're so eclectic in a sense, when you talk about visuals and other things with regards to creativity. So within the scope of the topic, what are the
Yeah.
sort of things do you think we should address as far as Gen Zs are concerned?
Okay, so it's about how we should address the Gen Zs
Mm-hmm.
in the scope of marketing. I think
Mm-hmm.
when I think of Gen Z, the first thing that comes into mind is how they are very friendly with social media, and most of them are using mobile devices. So when I think of them, they are very, very open when using social media and conversing with strangers on social media. So that's one thing that is very different for me when seeing, I live around Gen Zs. So my two brothers are actually Gen Zs, and when talking with their friends in social media, they have their preference. So for example, when my brother is in the room, and then he was saying that, oh, I'm with my friends, and then he pointed out at his Discord, and then I was like, okay, it's your friends, but you're using Discord. It's not like uh the way I usually, have conversation with my friends. And in terms of marketing, I think the most important part is how to be genuine. If you're let's say if you have a personal brand built in social media, or if you are an organization or business who are using social media, it's how you communicate with them in a very open, and then also you communicate not as a brand but as a person. So I've been seeing a lot of brands are, replying to followers' comments on the comment section, and then they just converse like friends. So yeah, that's what interesting about Gen Z for me. And then also, it's about finding the formula on how to speak to them. It's not like what I have done before when speaking to Gen Z. They prefer more casual talk, and then I have to be, when presenting Quirk, I have to be more transparent. I have to reply to their comments in a very, I'm here not to represent Quirk, but I'm a person behind Quirk. So yeah.
Right. So I think what I'm hearing is the fact that
Yeah.
it's really truly about engaging in an authentic manner where
Yeah.
it's very personal. And you mentioned casual. You're going down to the level where you're able to speak and relate to very young people. I'm just wondering, right? Because as far as I'm concerned,
Hmm.
young people fall within so many personas. So
Yeah.
how does one manage this, various personas that young people can take, because you do not necessarily want to fit in a single box. So how can businesses or truly engage with young people or Gen Zs?
That's a very good question because Gen Z itself is very wide. So at Quirk, what we do is we use a marketing tech tool to kind of identify what are the personas that fall under Gen Z, for example. So we're using Voyager, for example, to generate like a different personas. They have a very wide choices where you can identify the behavior, you can identify the products that they like. So it is very important to not just condense all personas into like one pool of Gen Z, but we do have different personas. And yeah, marketing tech tools really helping us to communicate better with the Gen Z nowadays.
Right. So meaning that it's very easy to wear many hats when you
Yes.
communicate with young
Mm-hmm.
with a Gen Z. What are the sort of things you feel are challenging? You know, I mean, you were saying that technologies can
Mm.
close certain gaps, but what are the sort of things you feel are required nowadays? And you know, maybe in projecting more of a trend, what are the sort of
Okay.
trends you see? Yeah.
Okay, so marketing technology like that helps you to generate persona really helps for you to identify their behaviors, their likings. But when communicate with them, it's a matter of it's always a human process, like a creative process. So how will I condense all this information for Gen Z to digest? It's a matter how to condense this much of information into one short video because as you may have heard, Gen Z have, I think a shorter span of attention. Maybe that's because they are born into the time where information is out there and is so much, and then they have to filter out the things that are really important to them. So the biggest challenge for me is, yeah, how to, pack your messages, how to convey your values just in a very condensed way, in a very direct way that how do they get the value out of it? So that's like the biggest challenge at work, I think.
Yeah. I
Mhm.
think, I mean, that's where obviously when you say human touch, you know, creativity is
Yeah.
still essentially a very human thing. And that's where I feel it's so quirk is so relevant therefore, right? So it's about ensuring that there is that sort of talent that can unpack pack it for you
Mhm.
for the target audience. But I'm just curious because you mentioned misinformation, right? So
Mhm.
how can when you talk about values, it's essentially the values of the business.
Mhm.
And you did mention that now it's about being genuine and it's about being authentic. So how do you feel brands can in helping in developing those values? Can they be more because I work with social entrepreneurship enterprises, right?
Ah. Yeah. Yeah.
So you need to have a very good value as far as messaging is concerned, as far as ensuring that they consume the right things. How do you
Mhm.
feel brands as well are taking that into account? You know, the fact that young people are more perhaps are more aware that they want to be able
Mhm.
to consume you know, better, healthier or more sustainable products. So how do you feel brands are doing that as far as brand and marketing is concerned these
Okay.
days? Hmm.
Yeah, that's a very great thing to discuss. And then you have worked with youth organization as well. I think as brands and organizations, the value and also the product stay the same, but it's about skewing the angle. I think when you're communicating, especially to Gen Z. So, for example, at Quick, we are maybe people will look at us first as a job platform, but when we are conveying ourselves to the audience, we are not just a job platform, we are a gig community. So it's about like skewing the angles, and then we are not there to post, for example, the job posting itself. We do not market the jobs that we have in our platform, just like come on, apply to this job and then earn money. It's the end of the era to market our products in that way. So right now we're trying to really deep dive into how Gen Z is actually thinking, what things that they care about, and then this is where marketing technologies really help to find their values, to find their way of their aspirations, and then we're kind of play into the ideas about what matters to them is the flexible career paths. Is about how to help them jump into one industry to other. Sorry. And then yeah, it's about the skewing your messaging a bit, and then you have that value, but when you communicate it to Gen Z, you have to pick different angles.
Right. So it's not skewing without the value attached to it, yeah. Definitely not.
Yeah.
I heard just now that was about this Discord, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you're talking about all these technologies, which I definitely am new to. I've had to go through an orientation program with my 8-year-old who communicates via Discord. So how do you feel? How can Discord or other platforms such as this, not only
Hmm.
engage the young people, but the fact that it's still a platform where you are able to communicate with different stakeholders. How do these platforms, as far as brand and marketing is concerned, provide that sort of avenue? So it's not just
Yeah.
generational. Yeah. So what are
Yep.
your thoughts? Yeah.
Okay, so this is very relevant because we have clubs at Quirk. We have clubs for creatives, we have club for movie lovers, and we also have clubs for gaming. And then we recently worked with Agency. They are our apprentices or our interns. And then usually we just use Google Meet to gather around and then just to watch movie. But then from their point of view, they suggested to use Discord. And this is where I get to know Discord better because it's very friendly for Gensers, not only for Gensers, but also when you onboard them with how to use Discord and then you bring them on the community in our Discord. It's very interesting to see how effective it is for community marketing, because at Discord you can set different communication channels, and then people can just type in their messages anytime, and then we can get back to them anytime. So it's just like social media, but it's a very tight niche and community base. So I do think like, yeah, it's a very apt for community marketing these days. So Quirk is also have been using Discord for Quirk Cinemates. That's what we called our club for movie lovers. So that's been very effective. We receive more engagement in Discord rather than just using Zoom or Google Meet. So that's something I learned from Gensers as well.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So it's great, the
Mm-hmm.
idea that yes, I mean, we're as long as we're willing to learn, and at the end of the day, when we talk about technology, it's really about adopting and trying it out and seeing whether or not it fits in with your either business culture. But I think as far as business is
Mm-hmm.
concerned, they have to be open, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of the time they're driven by much older people. So at the end of the day, Gen Zs are forcing us to think about all this
Mm-hmm.
technology, not just as a tool, I believe, but as a means to really communicate and engage with young people.
Mm-hmm.
Last 2 minutes, do you have any, top three strategies very quickly as to how we can actually do this and really engage with Gen Zs?
Okay, I think three tips. Okay, I'm trying to narrow it down. So the first thing, I think what I've learned working with our apprentices, which are I think all of them are Gensers. I think they do not speak in optimism. They speak in pragmatism. So when talking to them, again, you have to be very honest, very open, very practical, very after you're doing A, you should move to B and C, and then they are very crazy with their ideas, and we should listen. Sometimes I learn a lot of things from them. I learn how to communicate better with social media, and then to see how they are being very creative when, for example, creating content. And then the other thing, the second thing is explore marketing tech tools. It is very important because you have to have trust in data, especially when, sometimes for us millennials, it's very hard to figure out the behavior of Gen Z. But there are marketing tools out there that lets you to use persona to generate data about your audience. So use that. And then the third one, I think, make sure your digital products are mobile friendly, because when you're tapping into Gensers, when you're communicating with Gensers, you have to have the mobile friendly products because most of them are crazy with their phones. So I think that's it.
Wonderful, Natalie. Last but not least, if anyone wanted to communicate to contact you, how can they do that?
Okay, so the easiest thing is you can follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, what else? Instagram at quirk.my. So there's that. So you can just, yeah, stalk us, follow us, and then learn more about Quirk.
Right. So I'm sure we can all do that. We've all learned how to stalk each other, and I'm sure that technology has helped us do that. Ethically. Yeah, so thank you so much, Natalie. I think I don't even know, I can't remember the generation I'm in, but I've learned so much from you, and I think there is so much definitely that we can learn from each other intergenerationally on how to really communicate genuinely with each other, and look at beyond Gen Z as purely customers and consumers of your products and services. But the
Very
idea is,
true.
at the end of the day, is how can we actually enrich the lives of I think Gen Zs, that they are our future, and how can they can play a major role in life and the world. Thanks so much, Natalie. See you
Thank
then.
you, Nini. See you.